The main thing that I have learned, Jenny, about business and being in this business 18 years is that you have to pivot.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Highlight Her. I'm Jenny, and each week I sit down with women entrepreneurs to talk about their stories, the inspiration behind what they're building, and the next steps in their journey. Consider yourself sitting in the third chair at our virtual table. Today, Anne joins us. She is the founder of The Bling Thing, a sassy boutique in Wyandotte, Michigan. I'm excited to learn more about her journey because she sure is rocking it on social media, and I can't wait to chat with her more. Hi, Anne.
Hello?
Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we
Absolutely.
dive into your journey, I have a question that I like to start with.
Okay.
Is there a recent moment where you thought, this is why I do this?
It's so funny that you asked me that because just today I
Ooh.
actually was doing a live broadcast on my
Mhm.
Facebook page, and I read a email that I got from a customer this morning, and it reminded me of why I do what I do. Um, I got, I'm all about the connection that I make with people. Um, and that's why I went back into doing a retail storefront again because I, for several years, was online only. And I kind of did it the back way. I was online only, then I opened a retail store, then I went back to online only, and then now I'm back doing both again. And so I sold something online that I didn't have in stock uh, because I think I probably brought it home, and it was a Zodiac fragrance, which we sell in my store. And it was the large size, which is $110, which I don't keep that in stock, right?
Mhm.
And so the customer ordered it online. She lives in another state. And I realized, oh no, I think I might have, I probably bought that and took it home and didn't take it off the website. And it was my fragrance, it was my sign, which is Pisces.
Mhm.
And so this customer, of course, I'm very transparent. That was on Sunday. And I emailed her Monday morning and said, hey, I don't have this in stock. I had to order it. It'll be here in a couple of days. Are you okay with waiting? If not, I can cancel your order and refund you immediately. But I knew she'd be okay with it because Pisces are cool. And so I knew she would be. And so she was like, oh, yeah, it's no problem. Just thank you for letting me know. Cause, everybody wants to know like why there's a delay. And honestly, this was like it literally, she ordered it Easter Sunday, which was what, the 5th. Today, she emailed me because she got it. So,
Oh,
yeah, she already got it. So when I got it in, I, of course, immediately shipped it out and I sent her one of the Zodiac necklaces that we carry and had her sign, and it had in rhinestones her sign. And I just said, hey, fellow Pisces, I always put in a little postcard, hey, fellow Pisces, March 15th here. And, I just, as a thank you for being so cool about, being a day or two delay, I'm sending you this. And, sending you this necklace. And so she sent me back this email today and it said, hey, I love the necklace. I love my fragrance. It wasn't even a delay. I got it within 4 or 5 days. But are you in the market for besties? And
aw.
and she said, March 19th here. And I was like, of course, Ellen, I'm in the market for another bestie. So that's why I do what I do. It's my goal to make you look and feel beautiful at any size, age. That's my goal. That's what I'm here for.
I love it. All right. So, with that great start, can you rewind a little bit and take us back to the beginning? You kind of mentioned that you've done online and boutique, and now you're doing both. So, can you take us back to the very beginning of your business? What inspired you? Why you might have started?
Sure. So I started selling on eBay in
Okay.
1999, like back in the Stone Ages.
Mm-hmm.
And I started my first website like 2002, 2003, back when they were like we were on dial up, and it was tough. I had worked as a personal shopper for a famous a company. I'm not going to say who they are because I don't know if I'm allowed to or whatever. But it was a large company, and be on the phone and say, "Hey, I was the St. John sports specialist." I don't know if you have heard of St. John, but it was a high end designer clothing line. I would plug my phone in or at my camera in at the time to my computer. I would take pictures and I would like actually email you photos of what I had. And so I started sending clothing all over the country. Like anybody that bought this clothing line from this department store, I had access to. So our numbers got to be like really high. Like they were like, oh my, like where are these people coming from? I made commission on what I sold. I was a
Hmm.
straight commissioned employee. So of course I was trying to get you as like I'd get you as a customer. And then I was traveling with my customers. Any place that had one of these stores, I would fly with you. I could fly with you to Chicago, go to the store and sell you anything in that store. Well, people started saying to me, well, I know you get paid by the company if you buy, if you sell me something from this store, but I want to go down to this store. And I'm like, well, I don't make any, I'm here and I paid my own way. Like, wasn't,
Hmm.
I only made commission on what I sold. So I started thinking like, this is a little bit more bigger than just working as a personal shopper. And
Right.
I worked for Lancome. I worked for Bulgari Fragrance. I worked for Origins. And again, I was a personal shopper. I was a St. John sports specialist, but I could sell you anything in the store. So I would be helping my customers, with China. I would be helping them pick out fine China for a dinner party. And, that was kind of the thing I did. And so I started thinking like, like I was tired of working every night and weekends and the last um Thanksgiving, like Black Friday, I worked where I had to open the store at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to open the Lancome counter. This is the last time I'm going to be getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and, coming to the mall and working at this store. So I just started like selling on eBay, and I would kind of advertise like, hey, I would buy things. I would could go into a store and I knew what people liked, right? Because I had
Hmm.
customers. So I would buy things and then resell them on eBay. And then I would send like flyers and things in the packages and say, hey, if you really love this brand, I am a personal shopper. And that's kind of how it started. But I actually started buying from this department store their overstocks. They would send all of these things to a central processing place, and then they would group those together and sell them to what they were called job outs. They would send them
Hmm.
to people. And so I started buying job outs. So I started ordering like 300 swimsuits at a time. I didn't know what
Wow.
I was going to get. Like I would read like the manifest of what was available and I would buy them online and then I would resell them on eBay. So really I started doing that a lot. Like I would have like these um like semi trucks come backing up into my down my cul-de-sac
Oh
of my
my
house,
goodness.
in my driveway, unload these big pallets of, swimsuits and, I did purses. Basically, that's how I started. And I'm still friends with a lot of the people that I met on eBay at that time. They had this thing called the Power Seller Board, and I'm still friends like online and I met them in person, and that's how it all really kind of started, and it progressed from there. I always wanted to own a boutique.
That's
And yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. So that's how it really started.
You have so much experience, and it sounds like you really know how to help people find what they want from your years of experience.
Yes.
Does that
Yeah.
mean you have a lot of repeat customers at the boutique?
Oh, yeah. A large part of my business is online. The Bling thing I started in 2008, and I opened up a retail storefront in Saline, and people still know me from there. People still shop from with me from there. I closed that and went back to online only for several years. And then I moved to Canton. I was having a dishwasher put in, and I asked the guy who put my dishwasher in, hey, you don't happen to know anybody who rents commercial space, do you? Because I need to put my business into a commercial property. And he said, well, as a matter of fact, I do. I have a buddy in that has a commercial space in Taylor. And, you know, you can like I'll call him. So anyway, that's how I met my current landlord. I've been with my current
Wow.
landlords. Yeah, my landlord and his wife for 7 years. And I originally was in Taylor. I had a big warehouse space there and I was doing festivals and events. I bought this like 18-foot box truck and you should have seen me driving this thing. And my friend and I that worked for me, Julie, like we were doing the Ann Arbor Art Fair and you know the Celine Summer Fest and all these kind of festivals and that kind of stuff. I did a lot of things with the vintage market and you know I told her I said, "Hey, you know, all we really need to do is do one event a month here at this place and we'll be able to pay the rent." Well, we moved in August. We did a Christmas event. It was great. We did a Valentine's event. It was great. And then COVID hit and we didn't do another event for 2 years.
Mm.
You know, I had bought this 18-foot box truck. It sat in the parking lot. They stole the catalytic converter off it. I mean, I was like, I got to sell this thing, you know, so I sold the truck and my landlord at the time said, "Hey, I'm Amanda and I really love what you're doing here," because I had it all set up like a boutique. So you would call me and say, "I want to shop." And I would say, "Oh, well, come on over, come on down." And you would come down and it would look like a boutique in there. And then I had the warehouse in the back and we were shipping online. And I did a lot of giftware at that time, a lot of Christmas stuff, a lot of feather trees and that kind of fun stuff. He said, I think that Amanda and I think that you would be perfect down in this space that we have. We're building this building and we think that you would be like great. And I was like, oh, I was like, no, 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 I do not want to go back into retail. Things were bad. We weren't doing any festivals or events. And I was like, well, my daughter was going to be graduating from college. And I'm like, maybe this is the time I go back and try it again. And so that's how I got into my current space. My landlord, then I moved to Wyandotte and opened up the Bling thing retail space. But I was still selling online the whole time.
Do you still carry as much inventory to sell online as when you had that warehouse?
No, but I do have a back room that has more inventory than what you know.
Mhm.
And I don't sell as much of it's weird what I sell online. It's a little different than what I sell in the store. Although everything in my store is online. So you can
Okay.
buy whatever you can buy online and have it shipped to you. Or you can pick it up in the store. You know, the main thing that I have learned, Jenny, about business and being in this business 18 years is that you have to pivot. You have to make changes all the time in order to stay in business.
I think that's very true, and kudos to you for noticing that and for finding ways to change and morph and grow as technology changes, as world events change, the ability to do certain things. So that's a great character quality that you have there.
Well, I've been doing this a long time and I raised my daughter part of the from the time she was 13 on as a single mom. And there
Mm,
were a lot of times when it was tough. And I would just go to bed and pray and be like, you just have to get up and sell something. You have to
mm.
sell something. And there's been so many times whenever I've had to comfort myself or I've had, people have asked me, like, how have you done it for this long? How have you been single and on your own for this long and raised your daughter and everything? And I say, honestly, it's just because I'm just too stupid really to give up. Like, I just keep going. I just keep pushing. And that's all you can do. Sometimes I don't want to. And those are times when I rest.
Good for you for realizing that rest is important. I imagine it gives you a chance to refuel and be able to push again.
Yes. I always think like when I see someone going out of business, it makes me sad because I always think that no matter who you are in this world, at one point or another, you have thought, I could have done that better, or,
Mm.
if I owned this business, I would do XYZ. And so, or, I could, oh, they do it this way, but I know a better way. Even if you never wanted to own your own business, I think that we all have at one point thought that we could do it better, that we could own our own business, or we wanted to have our own. And it always makes me sad when someone goes out of business because it's the end of a dream that you have.
Mm.
And it's a tough situation. You have to be really brave to do this. You have to, because sometimes there's no one there to comfort you but yourself, and at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're thinking, can I make payroll? Did I ship those orders out? Did I, all those things that happen when you own your own business, it's not easy. It's not.
Would you say there's something that was the biggest learning curve for you?
I think that as I've gotten older, I've learned to not get so stressed about everything and not
Mhm.
to get so emotional, that I don't think at the end of the day because I think that at some points in my career, I was really wrapped up in my career, like really. And I think that at some points I've been a little too focused on that because you kind of have to. It's like another child. And I've learned now as I've gotten older that, hey, you may not have that. Like I think I had like a total meltdown during the holidays over my shopping bags, the handles. I bought these shopping bags and the handles were breaking. And at one point, I had like a line of people at one day, and one of my customers said,
Mhm.
"Man, it's okay. It's okay." Like I'm like, "These bags." And I went in my back room and I like threw them on the floor. And I'm not that person who does that because if I throw something on the floor, who has to pick it up, right? It's me.
You.
So but I've learned that, I mean, this customer was trying to console me, like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, this is ridiculous. I pay 70 cents a bag for these bags to be breaking, before you even get out of the store. I stopped buying those bags and I'm never buying those bags again. But at the end of the day, that's kind of stupid, right? That's ridiculous. It's not that important.
It's a good lesson to learn.
It's not that important. And so I think that as time has gone by, I've gotten better and better at that, at realizing it's not that important.
Would you say that it has evolved beyond what you thought it would be?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say that you can never be too good at what you do to learn something new. I think that I was pretty tech savvy in terms of the online thing, for my generation. Like we didn't have cell phones until I was,
Right.
30 some years old, right? Um,
Right.
and like I said, I was pretty at the forefront at the time of sending pictures. I mean, everybody knows how to do all that now. You just take your iPhone, you have a camera in your hand. But at that time, I was in my mid 30s and I was sending, I was, like I said, plugging in my camera to the iPhone, uploading photos and sending them to people
Right.
across the country. That was something very like innovative at that time. And
Mhm.
so I would say that I've had to evolve, I've had to pivot, and I would say to anybody that owns a business or that in their career, not to be afraid to constantly be learning. I hired a coach in 6 months ago to teach me how to do Facebook and Google ads because I realized that I needed to up my game with the online space again. And it brings me to the whole thing with the social media. I've always been on social media, and I got on TikTok 4 years ago and started posting on there on my personal TikTok and developed a bit of a following, learned how to do TikTok videos and how to edit videos and all of that stuff. None of that was easy for me, and it still isn't easy for me. But I think it's like I started because I'm almost 60 years old. There is a niche there. I started doing brand deals. I started as a side hustle. When you own a business, you always have a side hustle. You're always doing something,
Right.
And so I started doing some brand deals, and I have some clients that I do videos for and do brand things for where I don't have to post it on my social media. I give it to them, they pay me, and then they use it on their social media or wherever they use it. But that's content creation. I started doing that about 4 years ago, and I continue to do that. I reached a point where I got kind of burned out on it because I'm authentic and honest. And, some of these companies wanted to start giving me a script and wanted me to say certain things. And I didn't want to do that because I'm not, if I can't be honest and say what I really think, I don't want to work for you.
In the world of personal shopping and helping women find what they want, they really should listen to you.
Well, and the thing is I don't want to, I'm not an actress. I don't want to read a script. I'm only going to do things that I actually believe in myself. And so I kind of pulled back a little bit from it, but I do represent a lot of things that I actually really like and that I actually use in my own home and I use on my own body. And, those things I don't have any problem doing. But yeah, there is a huge market for that. If someone is out there and they really like doing that kind of stuff, there's a huge thing. Like you're never too old. People will meet you where you're at. Yeah, when I started posting on social media and I started going live, I just get on there and talk. And I'd be like, no one really wants to listen to what I have to say. But you know what? I found people that it's my people and they do want to hear what I have to say. Well, they know that I'm authentic, that I care, that I really do care.
Yes, and you put a lot of personality into your reels.
Yeah. Well, I had to teach myself all of that. It doesn't come like naturally for me. Maybe it does.
Well, you're doing great with it.
Thank you.
Do you find that you're getting followers? I know you from Facebook, but you've mentioned TikTok as well. I'm guessing, are you on Instagram as well?
Yes, and YouTube.
So, do you have pockets around the country
Yes.
of like certain areas of the country that, oh, a bunch of people in Chicago have followed me, or a bunch of people?
What it is that each social media site is really different. Like the things I post on TikTok, I can post on YouTube, and on TikTok they get 150 views, and on YouTube they get 2,000 views. And then there's certain things I post on Facebook that are different. Like I don't post everything on all the sites. I repurpose some of it. But yeah, it is funny. It's more of this, each site is like specific things. I personally really like TikTok, but I most of my market is on Facebook because TikTok's a little younger, you know. So I think I've really like my market is mostly on, and I like my customers on Facebook much better.
Do you have a certain age group at the boutique, your in-person boutique as well, or is that a mix of ages?
Yeah. I mean, obviously my target market is 38 plus. I mean, I have people that come in my store and they're like, oh, my mom would love this. And I don't take that offensively. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Your mom, that's who I'm marketing to.
Mhm.
Your mama's
That's
got
a good
money.
sign of that's a sign of good marketing.
Yes. It's like your mama's got money. You probably don't.
Send your mom in. Bring her in for
Exactly.
Mother's Day.
Pretty much
I
almost
love
every day someone comes in and says, I follow you on Facebook.
So, do you have a moment that you can think of that you would consider your most rewarding moment as the bling thing?
There's been so many. Anytime that someone steps in and tells me that, they wore the outfit that I picked out for them, or they, sends me photos of them wearing something that, to a wedding that they bought from me, or anytime they just stop in and show me say hello, and I give the dog a bone, and, those are all very rewarding.
Going full circle back to that connection statement you made in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I'm there for. I have laughed, I have cried, I am so there for support. People come into my store to have a friendly face sometimes. I mean, I have customers who've never bought anything in my store. I guess they're not really my customers, they're probably my friends. And
Mhm.
and they come in and, hey, I wanted to let you know, that's what I'm there for. I got really lonely when I was doing online only, and I wanted to go back into this space for that reason.
I bet you've made a difference for many people.
I hope so.
Okay, so is there anything in your business that you're really excited about right now?
I'm really kind of excited about the online business again. I think I might have mentioned, but I don't know. I hired a coach to
Mhm.
help teach me about Facebook ads and Google ads. And so I'm getting like a real kick out of that, like out of, running these ads and seeing if, who they're reaching and making a whole nother connection with women across the country.
I love that. Learning things that help you reach new people is exciting all and yet at the same time that connection across the country and just knowing that you have a tribe, so to speak, is
Absolutely.
really exciting.
Absolutely. I remember years ago, I was importing these jewelry trees. It just came to me after you said this. I was importing these bronze jewelry trees and I was selling like I would order them like 300 at a time. And one time I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and I was in a boutique and I said, "Oh my gosh, that jewelry tree, they had their jewelry hanging off of this tree, this bronze tree." And I said, "Oh my gosh, that looks like something that I would sell." And the guy looked at me and he goes, "Oh, we bought it online from a place in Michigan." And I was like, that's me. And it was so exciting. I mean, it was like 10 years ago. It just came to me,
Oh my goodness.
It was just so fun at that time. It was back before Amazon.
How fun and surprising and probably satisfying to be in a different state on a trip and see one of your products in another place.
Exactly.
That's
It
awesome.
was fun.
Oh, that gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm stopping by with a special invitation. Can you believe that season 1 is almost complete? I'm so excited and I'm truly grateful for your support. I want to do a special Q&A episode at the end of season 1. But in order to do that, I need questions to answer. Can you let me know what questions you have? Use the fan mail button at the top of the show notes to send me your questions. I can't wait to create this special episode for you. All right. So we're going to do a little bit of a lightning round that I do toward the end of the interview with everybody. Just some quick, fun questions.
Okay.
So, coffee, tea, or hot chocolate?
Coffee.
That is the winning answer so far. Everyone has said coffee. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
One tool or app you couldn't run your business without?
Probably CapCut.
Ooh, that's a good one. For listeners that don't know what CapCut is, it's a way to edit your videos on the go.
Yes.
What is your favorite way to unwind after a busy work day?
I like to lay in my bed and eat candy and watch TV.
I love that. I almost said, do you even unwind? But I like your answer. And then who is a businesswoman that you'd like to highlight?
Oh, my mom, of course. Judy.
Aw,
Big booty Judy.
aw, what does she have?
My mom is a still working 79-year-old owner of a medical DME. She owns Oxygen Plus Kentucky, which is a medical DME in Kentucky.
Wow. What does
Yes.
DME stand for?
Durable medical equipment.
Okay.
So she sells like oxygen
Mhm.
rollators, CPAP machines, mastectomy bras, that kind of thing.
And she's still going strong.
My mom was like a failed entrepreneur. Like she raised us, my sister and I, as a single mom in the 70s. And she worked for Ford Motor Company. She was like the first female committee woman for Ford Motor Company. And um but she would have like all these, she would start like these serial businesses and you know they would never work out and we never had any money, and I was raised in Ypsilanti. And once I was an adult and on my own and had my own family and business and everything, she started this medical DME. Like she started renting like hospital beds and things like that. Like, and she was literally doing it herself, like taking these hospital beds into people's homes.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, and it was kind of crazy. And at the time, I'm really good at test taking and retaining information for short periods of time. So I was getting as my side hustle back then. I was getting licensed to do all these things. Like I was licensed to fit for diabetic shoes and licensed to, I was a mastectomy bra fitter. I mean, like all these kind of things that you had to get licensed in the state and take tests and that. And so I was doing that part. And my sister was working for her as a medical biller. And she just figured it out. And so she was one of those late bloomers that actually probably in her 50s started finally making money. And she is still working. She still owns her business. We want her to sell. She was offered a large sum of money about 3 months ago or 6 months ago. I mean, I'm like, Mom, you've got to like, it's time for you to relate. She's like, what would I do if I retired? I'm like, I don't know, because people ask me like, like about retiring, and I say, I'll retire when I'm dead. I mean, I'll probably only have to work half a day. Like, I don't know if I'll ever retire. And I get that from my mom.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Hi, Judy. If you hear this episode, you did a great job.
Thank
All right.
you.
Is there anything besides your online business refocus? Is there anything that you're working toward or dreaming about right now? Your next step?
On a personal level, I have a fiance that I'm
Ooh,
looking, yeah, yeah. And I have a new grandson. So
congratulations.
thank you. So, um, nothing really in the business part of things, but a lot going on in my personal life.
And sometimes that's needed, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, listeners, remember in the highlight her origin story, aka the first episode, I suggested you start a notebook for the ideas you'll collect from our guests. It's time to get it out. We've reached the end of our episode. Can you believe it? And if someone wanted to start something similar, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
It's about location, location, location. So I would definitely make sure that you are, if you're talking about the retail space versus the online space, I would say that make sure you're in an area where where there's foot traffic. If you want to open a retail storefront, you have to have foot traffic.
Before we sign off, audience, ask yourself, what's my next step? If you ever feel like sharing, go ahead and reach out with a comment or an email. If you were inspired by Anne and you want to follow her and her super sassy, savvy social media, you can find her on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube. And she also has a website, theblingthing.com. I'll make sure it's all in the show notes for you. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's so fun.
My absolute pleasure. And audience, thank you for listening to the Highlight Her podcast. If this episode encouraged or inspired you, be sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss the next guest. After all, you never know if her story will inspire your next step.